Okay, hi, welcome to another SEO Hangout with Josh Bachynski. That's me. Today I have my Halloween shirt on because it's the Halloween edition of Josh's SEO Rants, Hangouts. There I have Werewolves on Wheels. It's a band here in my area, my neck of the woods. So today I've got something really special for you. Aside from the awesome Halloween t-shirt. Matt Cutts recently did a presentation at PubCon, the Publishers Conference in Las Vegas, and so he leaked a bunch of interesting information. He was much more upfront and forthcoming with a lot of information, so I've got all that information in case you didn't get to see it and or you're not really sure how to read between the lines what he's talking about. And not only that, but just for you today, today I have one of my clients recovered from Penguin 2.0 and 2.1. He had boosts on both those dates. And so I have got an analysis. I finally have an analysis on what links he had deleted and what was going on there. And so I have a slideshow to show you the actual examples of what was going on so you can see some good evidence of what's going on there for your own hopeful Penguin recovery efforts. So I have that coming up after the PubCon synopsis. So let's get right to it. Okay, so Matt Cutts was talking at PubCon and he mentioned a bunch of stuff. And so if there's no order to it, I'm just going to mention everything he said kind of in a potpourri, a buffet, if you will, a smorgasbord of SEO leaks from Mr. Matthew Cutts. Okay, so the first thing he mentioned, Hummingbird. People have been talking about Hummingbird. It has an effect. People talking about Hummingbird doesn't have an effect. He mentioned specifically, point blank at PubCon, that Hummingbird does have an effect. It has the most effect on long-tail queries because Hummingbird is a natural language kind of processing algorithm, and so it drops the useless words in long-tail queries and more spoken language kind of long-tail queries, and it goes for the main, the meat, if you will, of what that query is about. And they're much better now at determining what that query is actually looking for. Because before they just did a percentage of words, tell me about werewolves on wheels. It would go, it would try and look for pages that had tell me about in it, right? You might get about.com because it's much a higher authority, but it had the word about in it, which is not what you want to know at all. You want to know about werewolves on wheels. I'm exaggerating slightly, of course. Their previous algorithm wasn't that bad, but Hummingbird is even better. And so if you had a bunch of if the search query was tell me about werewolves on wheels, and because you saw people were searching for that, you decided to take a 2001 SEO approach and put those exact keywords in there. That was the title of your page. Tell me about werewolves on wheels. You might have been ranking well for that before. Now you're not. Hummingbird knows that if someone types in tell me about werewolves on wheels, let's say Google, tell me about werewolves on wheels, they know that they don't want to know about tell me about. They want to know about the subject of the sentence, which in this case was werewolves on wheels. So that's what they're going to show you, authority pages that are about werewolves on wheels, not that other stuff. So that's how the ranking changed. And if you take a look at Mozcast.com on August 20th or so, that's approximately when we think they announced Hummingbird came out. So a month before, and they said we released it a month previous, and the month previous, the only big shift was that date, August 20th. So you'll see that actually was quite a shift, quite a change, on par with, say, like Penguin. So you know that their new algorithm is doing a pretty good job at finding new results. So that's what's going on with Hummingbird. Matt Cutts leaked it. You heard it here first from me. Okay, the next thing he was talking about, and that's what we all speculated it was about, and John Mueller kind of hinted it was about. Now Matt Cutts specifically said that's what it was about. And so, before I move on, in case you want to know how do I optimize for Hummingbird, the answer is you don't really. You just make your page about whatever you want to be about. If you want to write about werewolves on wheels, you make it about werewolves on wheels, and those will be the main keywords, right? You don't really worry about what people are typing in or speaking in. You just worry about making it kind of the best page on that topic. And all this standard best practice white hat stuff that, if you have the time, you should do anyway because it's good to do, right, moving forward. Okay. The next thing he mentioned, and this was very interesting, I don't know how much to read into this, but he did say that the web spam team is kind of done for now. The summer of SEO hell 2013 is officially over, and well, for most of us. for most of the black hats. For illegal black hat, the summer of SEO hell is not over. The web spam team, according to Matt Cutts, for the next 6 months or so, and given Google's time frame will probably extend longer than 6 months, his web spam team is going to focus on working on hacked sites for the next 6 months. And he directly implied that there are going to be no other updates for non-illegal black hat. For the illegal black hat, that's what they're going to be focusing on for the next 6 months, especially hacked sites, because that's what the white hats are complaining about the most. That's what people are complaining about the most. And I'm telling you, they really just, whatever the squeaky wheel is squeaking about, that's what gets the grease. And so for the next 6 months, for people doing illegal black hat, FYI, it's illegal. And two, so there's a risk there. Obviously you've done the risk-reward calculation if you've gone so far as to bother to do illegal stuff in your black hat, which is way more black hatterish than the other black hat stuff that we're doing, which is not illegal by any stretch. And so that's what they're going to be focusing on for the next 6 months. So for the rest of us, we might get a bit of a break. And so if you're doing churn and burn, that doesn't include hack stuff, you might want to step it up. You might be able to make some money for the next 6 months. And watch for Penguin to come out. It'll probably come out around the same time, April, May. So then you want to disavow and delete all your backlinks before then if you're doing churn and burn. And otherwise, other black hat stuff, we're just trying to just general ranking and get back to normal. Other than Panda will still come out every month and still hits low quality sites. It hits every type of site, so you have to be careful there. But anyway, that's directly from Matt Cutts. Direct implication that there'll be no further updates, or really the web spam team is not focusing on non-illegal black hat for the next 6 months or so. Okay, the next one he mentioned is that he said, people are asking him, are you using social? Are you guys using social? And he's always said that we're not really using plus ones on Facebook that much right now. He doesn't say they're not using them at all. He says we're not using plus ones and Facebook signals that much right now, but he did say we will be using it big time in the future. In fact, he mentioned Matt Cutts himself, he said, I'm personally, quote unquote, bullish to use social big time in the future for ranking. He is bullish. Apparently, the way he described it, the way I took it from this presentation he gave, was that he's big pushing for Google to use social as ranking signals because they know they can trust them more. They know that it's easier to tell they're fake. You can tell the neural networks, the organic networks, people are talking, that kind of stuff. It's easier to tell if it's fake. And so if you haven't got onto social yet, you really should get onto social. There's 2 socials that I find that seem to have the biggest ranking factor right now. And it's more of a stabilization factor and a slight ranking factor if you're in not very competitive niches. And I do have some data to back that up. I'm not just saying it. Analytics goes up. You stick it Twitter, all that stuff gets better. Analytics goes up. Rankings get better. And the 2 things that I've found is getting social shares. Getting plus ones and likes is not such a ranking factor, although people still stand by that it is a ranking factor. And who knows? If you buy 1,000 plus ones, most of those are ignored anyway. But if you got 10,000 or 40,000 or 100,000 organic plus ones, well, heck, I'm sure that's going to be one heck of a ranking factor. But the 2 ones that I found, that's hard to get though. So the 2 ones I found that are easier to get and do seem to help is that social shares. Both Matt Cutts and John Mueller have mentioned that 100,000 times, that if someone mentions your site, shares it on social, actually clicks the share button and shares it on their social, both Facebook and Google+, that seems to make a difference. And also having a social profile with the website field that has a no-follow link to your site. Even if you go on Google+ and you reciprocate the link, you go to Webmaster Tools, you say, yes, reciprocate the Google+ and the website. I can't tell where the camera is. That really does seem to have good ranking signal. So I've mentioned that before. I'm not going to mention it anymore. I'm just going through what Matt Cutts talked about. Okay, so there's that one. Okay, he also mentioned that they're going to go big on authorship. No surprise here. We all heard it coming. We all saw it coming, that they're going to go big on authorship, that authorship is going to get global ranking benefits, and it's going to get even stronger logged in ranking benefits. People are logged into their Google accounts. And of course, more people in the future are going to be logged into their Google accounts. More people are searching on an Android, and Android is automatically logged in. More people are going to be logged in. We can tell that because the not provided data is going up, right, over time. That means people are logged in more. So more people are going to be logged in, and so those those Search Plus Your World ranking factors are going to matter more, and they're also going to give author benefits for general rankings. But, he said, there's a rub. There's the rub, as the Bard would say. if he did SEO, he would say it about this. But he's an author. Wow, what a segue! What a segue! They're not going to be showing as many authors, however. They kind of showed all the authors they wanted as an experiment. Now Matt Cutts directly said they're only going to be showing the top authors in their niche. And so they're going to really pare it back. And so you really got to build up your authorship if you want to use that, if you want it as a ranking signal. And you want to use that as a click-through rate boost as well. You really have to boost up your authorship. You have to post more, and more people have to share you and talk about you and +1 you on your profile and on your articles as well. Those are all the factors that will boost up your authorship. So here's a little tip for you. Obviously, you have to write great content. Obviously, you can go into Fiverr and buy shares and buy +1s and stuff like that. Just make sure if you're trying to rank for the U.S. or if you're U.S. based, they're all from the U.S. Not like suddenly 100 people in the Philippines have liked me. You know, they're going to detect that pretty quickly. And here's another little trick. You can use, fire up your standard X-Rumor linking software and make a bunch of publisher links. If you're the last one on the page, usually that's the one that takes preference. As you know, it would be a link to your plus.google.com/u/o/your long string of numbers that are related to your particular author and then question mark equals rel equals author, right? That's how you get your authorship started on Google+. Okay, so that would be how you get your authorship. A bunch of supposed articles supposedly written by you pointing at you. You can get 10 or 20,000 in a single day. Yeah, so I'm not going to mention that anymore. I'm just going to move on and talk about the stuff that Matt Cutts leaked at PubCon. By the way, if you have any questions about that, or you want to know more information about, because I'm going so quickly, how this all works, by all means, you can always email me. My email address is joshbachynski@gmail.com. You can also follow me on Twitter @joshbachynski, and you can watch all my SEO videos, but I have tons of SEO tidbits and knowledge at youtube.com/jbachins, JBACHYNS. Okay, here's another thing he mentioned is that if you do a search for your domain name or for your brand, and you're not showing up, or if you don't show up, if your site links aren't showing up, the site links are the little links that should that dig deeper into your site, like there's like little 4 or 6 of them or whatever, that should show up on your listing in Google. If those aren't showing up, then that is, I've mentioned this before, but that's an indication that your site is considered spammy or it's untrusted by Google. And so that is another indication that that's happening there. So you can check for that if you want. And then, of course, that would be how you make your site links show up, is that not be untrusted, be trusted, be a high authority, high trust. Okay. Oh, also, they mentioned that they know negative SEO is going on. They finally admitted it's going on. And they know that people are doing it and that they're worried about it and that they're committed to make sure that people can't negative SEO with their algorithms. That's just what he's mentioned, whether we can believe him that's true or not. But he did mention that if people are sending negative links towards your site, that you can use a disavow file, that you can use it proactively, that they're committed to making sure that it works for blocking negative SEO. Now again, I don't know how smart they are. If someone is smart enough to send you links with your actual good keywords that in 2008 would have ranked you great, and now don't, by the way, don't point any links at your money site right now, especially with commercial anchor text and especially with from spammy type sites, backlinking sites, because that's what they're considering good, and they may not even realize it's negative SEO at this point. So, but anyway, that being said, Cutts did say they're committed to combating negative SEO, and one of their main ways of doing that is a disavow file. And he said that the disavow file does work, and he insists it works for negative SEO. So if you've been being attacked, try that, and if it doesn't work, by all means email me and I can look to help you out. Okay, another thing that's interesting they're testing is huge banners in the SERPs. It's interesting, in 2005 they said they would never do that, and now they are. Although in 2005 they said they never do banner ads. So they're not banner ads, they're huge banners for authority brands. And this only goes for quality sites they trust. So if you do the huge banner markup and or either I don't even know how it works. Probably from your Google Plus or maybe from markup in your page. It's really easy enough to do, I'm sure. And then we're going to show up the huge banners for quality sites. Same thing as the site links. But it'd be awesome if you can get your huge banner there. It would definitely boost your click-through rate if people are looking for your brand. And although people's click-through rate usually is pretty high for that, but not always. I have some clients that people search for their brand, say that a company's called Red Apples at redapples.com, and you'd think that everyone would be clicking on their listing in the search, but not everybody does, so it's weird. Okay, next one. Okay, so also he addressed people complaining that Google favors brands. Surprise, surprise, Google's favoring brands like, the big brands, like, Walmart or Amazon or whomever. And he addressed this in his pubcon presentation. He wanted to make sure that everyone was assured that this was not the case. However, it is. He says, if you're small, you can still rank on Google. It's still great, blah, 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 yada, yada. And he says you should go for the long tail. And you should run a blog or a forum that has niche content. You can rank for the long tail, and that way you should, quote unquote, be creative and create new niches for you to rank in, new keywords, new buzzwords, new slang and whatnot that you can rank for. That's the oldest white hat trick in the book, but still works. So basically, he implies very strongly by saying that small should go for long tail, that small therefore cannot go for head terms, or small sites are going to have a harder trouble going for head terms. So that's something to consider if you're trying to compete with Amazon or Walmart, for your niche. It's possible, you can compete on head terms. Head terms are the shorter phrases. So head terms for my Red Apples example would be buy Red Apples, trying to compete with redapples.com for Red Apples or buy Red Apples. It's not impossible, but it's difficult and it would take more money and more time. Or you can just go for the long tail. You can make a big site with lots of blog posts talking about lots of stuff and get Red Apples review you might be able to get, or compare red apples and green apples. You'll be able to get something like that. You might be able to convert that way. Of course, this is affiliate marketing 101, but Matt Cutts talked about it, and I said I would synopsisize everything he mentioned at PubCon. How's that for word of the day? Synopsisize. Okay, and then finally, he had a cryptic mention. I'm not really quite sure exactly what this was about, but of course, the bad merchant algorithm does exist now. They never announced when it came out. They only announced that we're going to put it out. Then 3 months passed, and they said we already released it months ago. So somewhere in that time, they released it. The bad merchant algorithm, they've also leaked, and John Mueller's also mentioned and leaked pretty point blank how it works. It works on co-citation and mentions. So if someone doesn't even make a link, but they say, oh, redapples.com is the worst site, they ripped me off. I bought the apples and they were blue. If they find enough mentions like that, that's how the bad merchant algorithm works. And it also might even give you a positive boost. So that's why, Moz brought out a certain tool you can track your mentions, and link research tools, which is my favorite linking tool. You can track mentions in that as well. And so those are called mentions usually in the industry, or co-citation. And so he mentioned that people have been spamming this. After they heard about the bad merchant algorithm, people have been spamming this. And people have also been spamming PDF links. I don't know who's been doing that. SE Nuke. So, and lots of other programs do it too. So he says that they're going to be working on algorithms to combat that, to check for, I don't know how they're going to be combating that, but they're going to factor that into spam. Maybe he means that they're finally going to move that out of, if they see that you've spammed, because they already know what a blog page is, what the article page is, what a directory page is. With Hummingbird, they can already tell what each type of page is, right? That factors into the whole schema.org thing. I've reported on this a number of times. And so with that new machine learning ability to say, okay, this is a standard WordPress blog, this is a standard Joomla blog, whatever. Being able to tell that, if it's a standard blog, plus it has multi-topic posts, plus it has commercial posts, plus it has 20,000 new mentions for redapples.com saying it's the greatest site ever, it's the best, get your red apples there. If that's the mention across 20,000 times, they're going to have a spam, that's spam, technically, and they're going to have ability to detect it. And so if it was helping you, it's not going to be helping you anymore if that's what you were doing. According to what he says, what they're going to be looking for, right? And also PDF links, they're going to be considering that as a type of spammy link now as well. So this is just a part and parcel of what I've been reporting already. all the spammy ways of trying to manipulate them, they're just going to attack. There's like 100 tactics left, and they're going to attack, every single one until, next year. There's not going to be very many left. So you got to go dark side with it. You got to not talk about this stuff on the forums. You got to not buy the latest WSO. Sorry. You got to, not do it. Just go to Tool or whatever. Or you got to be really careful when you're doing that, and only be sending that to your buffer sites or your private blog network, and never be pointing any of those kind of links at your money site, and always routing it through that way. Or there's various other black hat ways of doing it. So if you want more information on that, please contact me. Again, you can email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. All the latest and the most risk-free black hat ways that you can do it. Just contact me. I've got all kinds of stuff about that. Okay, so that is all the information that Matt Cutts mentioned at pubcon, and kind of my little quick 2 cents on it. And so let's take a look at that. As promised, let's take a look at the recovery, the Penguin recovery that my client was able to do, and actually take a look at the exact kind of links that he had that he deleted, and that allowed him to have a major reversal. So let's take a look at those. Okay, so here we are talking about Penguin 2.x recovery. Again, this is an actual case study. Did see some improvements on both Penguin 2.0 and Penguin 2.1. There's my email if you want to ask me any questions about how to recover from Penguin, or any other SEO penalty or questions you want to ask me. Okay, so I'll get right to it. Okay, so here is the traffic of this actual client. And you see there's green ones and red ones. So you can see from here, I think you can see my mouse. From here, this is where he was obviously hit by Penguin. That was the first Penguin back in 2012. He was obviously massively hit by it. And then on Penguin 2.0 on May 23rd of this year, he went up a little bit. And then the big increase was Penguin 2.1 on October 4th. Now, you notice there's not these little lines here. That's just because I'm using the chart intelligence add-in for Chrome, which shows these little lines for Panda and for Penguin for Google Analytics when you're using Chrome. It's called Chart Intelligence, and I do suggest you download that. It makes it much easier for diagnosing Panda problems back in 2011, 2012, and they were releasing it every couple of months, and it was at a random date. Speaking of which, you notice back here, and I just want to point this out, even though it has nothing to do with Penguin, I just want to point this out because a lot of people don't realize that I get a lot of sites I look at, and they have a bunch of Panda scars back in 2011, 2012. They don't even realize Panda was hitting them then. But so we see here that Panda looks like it gave them a boost here, one of the versions of Panda, until they came up to about here. So their usage metrics and their quality for whatever signals they were using back in 2011 for Panda, who knows. But they was right on the cusp, and it looks like they were slightly better than their competitors, so Google thought they would try them out. And they got up to a certain point here, they got pretty high, but then Panda slapped them back down again, and then Panda boosted them up again here, and then they might have got some good link juice there, and that's when Penguin hit them. So anyway, my point with that is that don't ever underestimate how Panda can affect your site. And if you want to get a good analysis of how your rankings have been going on, and remember that all these things compound and make it all worse. So if you want to figure out what's going on back there, again, you can email me and I can figure it out for you. Okay. So, but anyway, clearly here they were hit by Penguin, and then they also recovered. So let's take a look. The question is, of course, how did he get out twice? He got a little bit here, recovered a bit here, and recovered big time here. Well, basically, he deleted links. That's what he did, or lost links, and I can show you exactly the kinds of links he deleted and lost. And also, he disavowed a few links, but admittedly, he deleted way more links than he disavowed. He thought he disavowed a lot of links, but actually, he really didn't. I'll talk about that as well. Okay, so the question is, what links did he delete exactly? And so that's what we're going to start taking a look at. But before we do that, I just want to mention that Cutts recently mentioned that Penguin 2.1 is just 2.0 dialed up, quote unquote. They just dialed up Penguin. So Penguin looks mostly for the same kind of links, and so if we can see what he got kind of out for 2.0 and 2.1, we're going to have a good idea of the kind of links they're going to be looking at, and maybe just a slight variation for 2.2. Okay, so here's just some proof that he did lose some links. So this is actually from Ahrefs for his site. And you saw here that he lost about 1,000 links altogether. So here is where the first, for the October 4th, 2012 Penguin rolled out, but he didn't get a recovery then. So clearly it's the links he lost here and here that made the difference. And the 400 links he lost here made a little bit of a difference for the May 23rd Penguin, but the 600 links he lost here made a big difference for the October 4th, 2013 Penguin. And so these are the links we're going to look at the most. But he did lose links here and here. And again, I don't think it's the number of links he lost. I think it's the type of links he lost, and I can show you that pretty clearly in just a couple seconds. One other thing, though, that I do want to mention is that you notice here he did acquire some pretty good social signals. He's got over 1,000 shares on Facebook. He's got 341 likes on his page. He's mentioned in 418 tweets and only 37 Google Plus shares. So that's not as big a deal, but it could be. This could be a quality factor that could have helped in this whole deal. So I'm not sure about that, but it was a factor in his recovery. So I am going to mention it in case you want to try and replicate that as well. Okay, so here, focusing on the 2.1 big recovery, here's the major links that he lost in this time period here, between this date here and this date here. Basically in September is where he lost the most. You see he lost some links here, and he lost links, a lot of links on this date here. That was probably a site-wide, I guessed, and I was right. If you're looking at that and think, oh, it's a site-wide he lost, you're absolutely right, it was. So let's take a look at these dates to see what kind of example links were part of the Penguin 2.1 huge recovery he showed. So what stands out about these links? Let's take a look. So on September 7th, these are the kind of links that he lost. He lost dentistry, dentist, comma, dental, blah, 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 and dental health, corporate sales. I don't know what this is, corporate sales. I don't know what that means for dental health. I don't know, it's just, he was just trying to throw stop words in there. I'm not really sure what he was doing for his backlinking. Then dental, caries, and cavities. I'm not really sure what caries means. It might probably either, again, stop words or misspelling. Dental healing, testimonials, cure, tooth, orthodontics, braces, headgear, and stuff, etc., etc. So basically, you see there's, keyword, comma, keyword, comma, keyword. This is not good. This is obviously, he's repeating the same keywords again and again, dental, dental, dental. And he's got keyword stuffing. He's got keyword, comma, keyword, comma, keyword. This is obviously spammy looking. And site-wide. You can tell this is some kind of a site-wide. It's on dentalcare.home the whole time. And you also notice another thing, that this is like their search utility. So this, he may not even meant to have lost this. He may not even meant to have built these links. It's entirely possible that this site, it looks like it's a directory, so he probably put the links there, but for his niche, a directory for his niche, link directory. But it is possible that they just searched him or scraped him and got him on here. And so this is another thing to watch out for, that it's not just people who are doing black hat linking who are affected by Penguin. There are tons of false positives for Penguin. And although it's highly unlikely, if someone from Google is watching this, stop what you guys are doing, because there's tons of edge cases. There's tons of false positives, right? There's tons of collateral damage. And I've gone on record to debate with Matt Cutts publicly that this was a bad thing. And you notice where our debate ended is when I said it's punitive, you have no right to do that, and he just shut up immediately. Because they know very well. Okay, so this is what you want to avoid. This was some of the links that helped him have that huge recovery on October 4th for Penguin 2.1. He had repetitive keywords. He had keyword stuffing, so repetitive across dental, 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 dental. He had keyword stuffing, keyword, comma, keyword, comma, keyword. That's an obvious, blatant, that's the most blatant, obvious example I could find, possibly find of keyword stuffing. I mean, that's it. That's the textbook definition. And site-wides as well. Site-wides could be a factor. So don't think that, oh, well, they ignore site-wides or site-wides are safe. They're not. Not if they're spammy links like this. Okay, so what was that blip on September 7th that he had? Let's look at this blip, this big, huge blip right here that was in later September. So these are the link loss that was in September 25th or so. And you can see, again, I'm going to go through this really quickly, but really it's the same thing. It's the exact match query that is in his EMD, right? This is exact match query. This is the repetitive keywords. It was again and again and again on the same site. Again, it's another site-wide. It doesn't matter if it's brand link. And I've already shown you how Penguin 2.0 kind of went after these links almost very aggressively and almost exclusively went for these kinds of links. That means that these kinds of links are the worst kinds of links as far as Google is concerned. Because if Penguin 2.0 was dialed down, they're trying to be quote-unquote nice, and Penguin 2.1 is dialed up, then this is the kind of link that they think is the worst. It has the worst kind of footprint. And the irony is that the white hat world thinks this is the safest kind of link, but they're wrong. They're so wrong. It doesn't matter if it's a brand link. If it's got commercial exact match query keywords in it, like cure tooth decay, that's clearly a search phrase that he's registered an EMD for, that is what they're going, one of the main things they're going for, along with the other stuff I just showed you. So avoid the EMQ to EMD. I've got tons of data proving that this is what they're looking for. This is a huge signal they're looking for in Penguin not to do this. Please look at my previous videos. Again, they're at youtube.com/jbachynski, J-B-A-C-H-Y-N-S. I've got like at least 10 different examples that I look at over 2 different videos. Okay, and finally, so he deleted over 1,000 links that look just like this. All the 1,000, I can't show them all obviously, but the 1,000 links he deleted look just like this. He also disavowed links on around anywhere from like May to August, but it didn't have an effect until now, and I don't think the disavow had much of an effect because his disavow file was all incorrect. His disavow file looked like this. It just had a root domain like this. He didn't use the domain : operator. So if you don't know what that means, email me, I can explain it, but I don't think his disavow file had much of an effect because he only managed to actually successfully disavow 253 specific links, and he didn't use the domain : operator, so I don't think the disavow file had much of an effect. I think it was deletion. Okay, so let's summarize again. You can get out. You can get this kind of a huge boost, a huge bounce back for Penguin, but you have to delete and disavow the right kind of links. You have to delete the keyword stuffed links, including the keyword repetition, the keyword stuffing. Obviously, if you have keyword, comma, keyword, comma, keyword, it's a total keyword stuffing giveaway, obvious giveaway, and the EMQ to EMDs. If you have even if you have your brand links, and so you have redapples.com and all your links say red apples in them in some variation, either redapples.com or red space apples, still it's the same thing. That's one of the worst things that Penguin is going for. And also, as an aside, I can say now you know how to negative SEO somebody for Penguin, right? So watch your link profile that people don't start sending these kinds of links to you. It'll help you rank. You'll get boosted up until Penguin hits you and takes you down if you're anywhere on the cusp. So again, watch out for these kind of links, whether you made them or you didn't make them. And also, he did disavow some links. So I suggest disavowing the same kind of keyword stuff, keyword repetition, overly commercial, and exact match query to EMD, EMQ to EMD parity type links that are low power. You have to make sure that they're low power. So check the Moz page authority to make sure they're low power links, and disavow the lowest power links there possible. You have to remember to be aggressive with those, because if you only disavow a few links, it's not going to help you at all, and you might actually have to delete some links as well. And finally, if that is terrifying to you, and it is very difficult to delete links, and it's difficult to find the links to disavow, then I do recommend you, contact me. I can help you. Again, my email address is joshbachynski@gmail.com. But also, it is a rumor out there, and it should work very well. This was a direct leak from John Mueller. You should be able to delete the target page on your site that these links were pointing to. As long as it's not your index page. If it's pointing to a subpage, you should be able to rename the subpage, change your site navigation so you don't break your site navigation, and you should be able to escape the Penguin penalty that way as well, because Penguin is a page-based flag. It is quote-unquote a flag that was directly told to us by John Mueller, and so that'd be another way you should be able to get rid of it. Although I haven't tried it yet, I haven't been able to do that yet, but it should be a way to get out. And finally, don't forget about social and Panda. This client also had good social signals. That could be a factor for his Panda boosts that he got here and here. And also, it could be a factor in him getting out. Who knows? They could be looking for multiple signals. That's been Google's style lately. And don't forget about Panda. You have to look back in your traffic to see if you have any Panda hits. And you can download the Chartelligence add-in for Chrome, and you go into your Google Analytics, and there's a little icon here. You click this icon, and it'll give you the selection you want to see: Panda dates or Penguin dates. and you can choose both, and you can see, and it's very clear. You go, oh look, okay, there's a huge panda boost here, a panda drop off here. It's dead easy. And if you have any other questions and you want any more help with SEO, by all means, do not hesitate to contact me. It's joshbachynski@gmail.com. Let me go all the way back to the first screen here. It's joshbachynski@gmail.com. You can contact me for any SEO questions that you may have. And good luck on the SERPs, and we'll see you guys next week.